All right, we are going live for the 72nd episode of the On the Hump podcast. Joining me tonight, I have got the number one Lions fan, Mr. Bobby Bless. Bobby has had some interesting last couple of weeks, that's for
No,
sure.
I haven't. Shit. No, I ain't. No, I ain't.
Well, hey, you got a heck of an accomplishment. I don't know if he wants to share the accomplishment, folks, but I know that he got upgraded in a way, right? Right, Bobby?
Yeah, got a promotion at work. They said I bossed around people pretty well when I wasn't a boss, so they told me to try it as a boss. So that kind of thing. No, I'm joking. I got a promotion at work, but it was a long time come. Dues have been paid, trust me. So it's not nothing I really want to brag about, but it's just more just of a sign that I'm headed in the right direction. More than I wouldn't even say it is a stop. It's just a checkpoint. How about that? I think that's a way to go because
Fair enough,
I,
man.
I don't even want to seem satisfied because I have higher goals, but it's a checkpoint.
Well, hey man, that like I said, that's awesome. That's awesome that that happened. And in the middle of all that, okay, Bobby was still a man of his word, and he was still able to get me one of my new prized possessions, and that is my Jahmyr Gibbs rookie card. That's right. And you can see Bobby Bless there at the top of it. He made sure everything was sealed for me and everything. So this has been sitting up in my living room on my shelf where I've got like all of my movie memorabilia and stuff
It's
like that.
my only Jahmyr Gibbs rookie with him in the uniform. So you are
So
a special guy.
I really appreciate that. That made my day because that gave me something to smile about for sure. So very excited to have that in my collection now. And I would encourage, I don't know if Bobby, do you do this service for other people or is it just
Yeah,
whatever
I
you do?
do. I do, but it's not nothing I'm looking for monetarily. It's just a lot of my friends, you and a couple other guys, they're always interested in how much their card value worth. And with certain card graving services, you got to send it out for lots of money and for lots of money. And actually, it takes quite a bit of time for you to get it graded, and it's amongst two or three people. But I I've literally done the process of grading in not just trading cards, but just other stuff like pictures and all that stuff. So it's all the same process. I got the tools, I got the magnifying glasses, I got the pointer, I got the all the rubber gloves you need to keep it keep your card in pristine shape while you grading it. And I what I do is I show people where their flaws are in the card. So because a lot of people don't know, a lot of people don't know, and I hate to even nerd out about this, but a
No,
lot of
please
people don't
do,
know.
please do.
Okay, a lot of people don't know. You can buy a sports card right out the pack. Never, never harm it anyway. Only treat it with kid gloves, as I say, and it's still not a perfect 10. Just because it's in the pack perfectly sealed, once you can get a card that's not a perfect 10. A lot of people get confused like, hey, I've got this card, I never touched it, I never took it out the pack. Da, da, da. But if they printed it with a flaw, you only can get so high anyway. So a lot of times people the flaws are so it's a petty business. But the business is so petty that you need a magnifying glass and a toothpick to point out the flaws in the card. So you can buy a card, take it right out the pack and grade it, and it won't be a 10 because believe it or not, the people that processes and make cards, they make mistakes too. And they got people that does quality control where they look to see if a card is perfect or not. But of course, we're not robots; we're humans, so even flaws get past them. So a lot of times you can get it like this car should be a 10 a 10 point a 10 out of 10 because I never messed with it. I never took it out the pack. But what you don't know is the printer missed a little spot, a little minute spot that will take that will have a card from perfect to let's just say not perfect. So I close friends and people I know, I we could they They'll bring their cards over to me. I'll look at them, and I'll just walk them through the process of why I'm doing it. Not just here. This is what it is. I'll show them where the flaw is at. But it's just like poker. If I know and you know and they don't know, you got the advantage, right?
Right. So, Bobby, got to ask you another card related question while we have a couple minutes here.
This is my wheelhouse, Detroit Lions and cards. That's all I know.
So, by the way, folks, if you can, give us a like, give us a comment, hit that share button. We would greatly appreciate it. We do have Lion stuff we're going to get to tonight, but I want to stay on the card thing just for a moment because, again,
sure,
really, like I've seen Bobby do this for other people, okay? But when you're actually holding the card in your hand, like the amount of care that he puts into this to make sure that nothing bad happens to this card. I mean, again, like obviously nothing against the Postal Service or anything, but I will tell you, okay, I will tell you that this card came in last weekend. I was 90 miles away from my house and it was raining and it stayed in the mailbox. And yet nothing bad happened to this card because of how he packaged it. So that's why I'm spending so much time on this because he spent so much time on it. But
and I can tell you how I package it too. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. I use rubber gloves, of course. Why? Because I don't even want no fingerprints or nothing like that to damage it. Because you got oils in your hands that you can't see, but they're there. Yeah. But so I put the card in a little piece of cellophane plastic, little plastic card holder. And then I placed the card into a in a like a plastic case, but it is permanently shut in that plastic case. You cannot get that open. Yeah. It's super glued, so tedious and precise that you probably can't even see the glue on there, but it is. And then on top of that, I put another piece of cellophane over that just to make sure, even if someone used their hands, they're not even touching your plastic, so you don't even want to dilute how it looks inside there. Because if you got a whole bunch of fingerprints on that case, and it just make it harder to know what you got. But just know that the only person that ever touched that card was the person that, presented it, put it in the pack and probably looked at it, and me. So.
And Bobby, I do want to remind folks, again, we are on YouTube Live right now, hoping that it's getting out there to some folks. That's my hope anyway. We've also shared it across all of our various social medias. That's what I was doing on my phone just now. But as you got into this, as you got into card collecting, do you remember, was it a specific card that made you go, man, this is so cool, I want to do this for the rest of my life? Or was it an athlete that made you say, I want to go get a card of that person?
Ironically, it wasn't either. It was my grandmother. She collected sports cards. God rest her soul. Dorothy Mae Rutledge, my grandmother, she collected cards. She had old cards. And the way she explained it to me as a young kid is like the stock market. I don't invest in stocks and bonds. I invest in sports potential, So if you might have a guy that you never heard of, but when you listen to, I heard you listen to Sports Center, now he's a star. So you basically buying stock into people and seeing how it go up and go down. And my grandmother, because I also showed you my collection of packs of cards I have never opened before, right? Yeah. So my grandmother, back in the day, it was about early 92. I remember her taking me to 7-Eleven. And we brought two packs of baseball, 2 packs of football, and 2 packs of basketball. I was able to open up 1 pack and, put them in the little, the 3-ring binders like everybody normally put those in. But the other packs, she made me put up. And she said, this is like putting money in the bank. So, no, I swear, that's what she said. This is putting money in.
It's a valid thing, though. It's a valid thing
Yeah.
because I remember growing up in the 90s and, everybody was loving on the Pokemon cards, right? And
Hmm.
some kids, like me, didn't think about keeping the Pokemon cards. They just, hey, I love it. And the kids who did are millionaires now. So, yeah,
Dude,
completely valid.
dude, I remember talking about sports cards, and these dudes was talking about Pokemon cards. I was calling them fucking nerds, man. And I was calling them nerds, like, man, who want to collect that old silly stuff? And, but I had a chance to get Pokemon cards too, and I was just down talking. Now I know all the valuable cards, and I'm a fringe Pokemon guy. But
Yeah.
I hear names and stuff. Like, oh my God, I've been heard of that guy before. And I had chance. I remember seeing guys with these cards that I be on Pawn Stars
Yeah.
getting thousands and thousands of dollars. I remember watching these guys with them cards when they first came out, calling them nerds, dude. I am so salty about that one. I am, man, because dude, I had a chance to get my hand on a whole bunch of Pokemon cards when they first came out. I used to be throwing them aside, like, where's the damn sports cards, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I have a real big regret with them. But as far as sports cards, it was just something like, because believe it or not, most of the women in my family, they sports, they watch sports. So uh my granny, I used to watch football with her on Sundays and just watch. She was watching ESPN, all that kind of person. So I used to be like, Granny, I got that card. I got him on a card. You know what I mean? And just seeing the guys that I got, in my little collection on Sports Center doing good and stuff, that excited me more. I'm not into baseball like I used to,
Right.
but I still collect them though. Don't get it twisted. I just don't know who the hell they are though. But yeah, and just my grandmother loved was sports collecting because she was the biggest Michael Jordan fan I ever met. She got, I mean, she had so much stuff. I remember her like ordering them in catalogs and stuff like that. Long before the internet, Elijah. You might not know about this, but they used to order. They used to do ordering them, but she used to call on the phone and order it. Like, hey, I need
Oh,
this. Walk through the magazine.
like QVC style.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You know how like they had a like infomercial with the people selling old coins and stuff. She used to
Right.
buy the card. She used to buy the sports cards just like that. It's a new Michael Fleer and Michael Jordan and stuff. She got me so hooked on that stuff. So and that I've it's been I get my spurts. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'm not in a heavy card collecting spurt, but some when Corona hit, it got me back started in there. So I buy some kind of sports cards maybe once every 2 months, maybe something like that. But not like I used to though. I'm grown up now, but make a
So,
long story short.
so
Go
for
ahead.
me, so for me, Bobby, the thing that I always do, and I haven't done it yet this year, okay, and maybe some folks out there will be able to get where I'm coming from. But every year in my household, it was a tradition to go buy the football magazine that would come out about May or June,
Mm,
previewing all the teams that were, going to be playing this upcoming season. So for me, obviously being a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket fan, being a Detroit Lion fan, I had to get two different magazines. I had
right,
I,
right.
I had to get the college magazine and I had to get the NFL magazine. And that was like a big deal for me whenever I got those because I would flip through and obviously first thing I'm doing is I want to read about
Right, right,
my
right,
team.
right.
How do they think my team's going to look? And then I would go and I'd learn about all the other teams. And so anytime that I'd get in a sports conversation, people would be like, "How does he know
You
such
didn't read it
an
all, yeah,
obscure
yeah.
team?" I'm like, "Because I do my homework. Like
Right.
that's just something I enjoy doing. But I haven't done that yet this year. But I have been looking into some of the games because I think this isn't a Georgia Tech show, but I think the Georgia Tech football team this year is going to be pretty special. That's just my underrated team. I don't think people are talking about them enough. For
Man,
what
you've been saying that every year I met you, every year since I met you,
Hey,
motherfucker.
this is that time of the year though where everybody still
Yeah,
got hope, you know.
and
But
in the words of my great friend Carlos Martinez, he called it hopium. Hopium.
That's right. That's a hopium. I like that. I like that. So let's talk a little, hopium. When it comes to our Detroit Lions, we have got a discussion topic that I'll be honest, I'll put the blame on me on this one. But I feel like in the sea of stories, right? We've had a Jameson Williams story. We've had Jared Goff's contract extension, Amon-Ra's contract extension, Panay's contract extension. We had the draft that was in Detroit. There's been so many stories that there's one story that we kind of dropped the ball on, and we're going to try to fix that tonight. And that story is our interior defensive line. We haven't really spoken about the addition there and the youth there and the potential that's there because we've been so busy talking about all the other great things that are going on. It's an abundance of great things. But as we're looking, I want to start the conversation with the player that's kind of the cornerstone of our interior defensive line, and that's Alim McNeill. Alim McNeill is that guy. I'm not trying to say that he's Ndamukong Suh. I'm not trying to say anything like that. I'm saying right now, him and Aiden Hutchinson are the two big defensive linemen that we have that we're building everything else around. Every move we do on that defensive line has Aiden Hutchinson and Alim McNeill's best interest in mind. Would you agree with that, Bobby?
Yes, because without that middle push, Aiden can't get back there. But I also let's not take away from the fact that having another guy on the outside on the other end helps also. But the quarterback can't step up and keep him in the area where the ends can get to him. And the only way we can do that is by applying pressure directly in the quarterback face. And we need those defensive linemen to do that. But and it's not so much for the run because if you notice from last year's stats, we're pretty good against the run. But it's getting to the quarterback, giving those guys in the secondary something to work with as far as pass rush to make their job a little bit easier, and just pretty much everyone behind them. Being that we have a one dominant force at pass rush, and when we don't have a second one, it's very important that we do get some kind of pressure up the middle, and that will make the quarterback just easier for our ends to get to because we leave a lot to desire on that pass rush and just pass defense all the way top to bottom. Mm-hmm. But getting established guys because I'm not a DJ Reader fan, but I've heard of him quite some time, so I can't sit up here and act like this just a everyday Joe Schmo guy.
Right.
Just that name.
We'll dive into his stats here in a moment for sure.
Okay. So. Yeah. Just that name alone gives me sign for optimism. Mm-hmm. But I'm still desiring to see more from it. I want to see it in action. But Alim McNeill, like you said, he was our rock and solid piece right there. I would love for him to get help, and I would also love for Aiden to get help. But we got a lot of youngsters in the secondary, and the less time the quarterback got, the quicker they can react to the mistakes, that the quarterback make on offense.
And I will say that this is not me talking bad about Brad Holmes or anything, but I will say that when I look at this defense, I would have loved for us to add another premier defensive end. And you know what? For all I know, maybe we have done that, and they just haven't popped off yet. because the majority of
Davenport, we got Davenport. He's pretty good. He's better than what we had, though.
But I'm just saying, I would have liked to see us invest, another piece of that puzzle. So right now, though, it feels like we got Aiden, we got Aleem, and then whatever players we bring in, their job is to obviously do a good job, number one, but number two, help Aleem and Aiden. Like those seem to be the pieces to the puzzle that we are for sure about, and everything else is kind of fluid at the moment. But if you look at Aleem McNeil, look at his stats, okay? 2021, his rookie season, he had 2 sacks. Then he kind of took a step back in 2022. He had 1 sack. And then last year, which on this...
Hey, brother. 2021 is not his rookie season. He's been in the league since 2016.
Aleem McNeil?
Oh, I thought you were talking about DJ Reader. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I'm talking about
Aleem
McNeil.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
So Aleem McNeil, 2021, 2 sacks. 2022, 1 sack. And then 2023, on this show, we had said that we thought he was going to have a pretty big year. I think I said that he was going to have 8 to 10 sacks. And he was on track. He was on track to do that, and then he got hurt. But he ended up with 5 sacks last season. So that's Aleem, okay? Obviously, during the offseason, Brad Holmes said, we need to add another piece to this puzzle. We need to add somebody else who can help Aleem McNeil. And so we went out and we got DJ Reader. Now, just the vitals, okay? Aleem McNeil is 24 years old. He is 6'2", 315 pounds. DJ Reader, who's got a little bit more experience, okay? He is 29 years old, 6'3", 335 pounds. So he's another big fella, obviously. But if you're looking at the stats for DJ Reader, obviously he started his career in Houston in 2016, as Bobby was telling y'all. His numbers in Houston were decent. He was more, from what I can tell, he was more of a plug the run type guy than a pass rush guy, but his pass rushing numbers as far as sacks are concerned were as follows. 2016, 1 sack, 2017, 1 sack, 2018, 2 sacks, 2019, 2.5 sacks. Now, I want to make a point. In 2019, okay, after that last year with Houston, I remember a lot of people, sports writers and just general fans, wanting DJ Reader to be a Detroit Lion. They wanted him back in 2019. Now, they couldn't make that happen. I forget exactly what happened with that whole situation, but I know he was rumored, and then it seemed like maybe he might come here, and then he goes to Cincinnati. So then in 2020 with Cincinnati, he didn't have any sacks. 2021, he had 2 sacks. 2022, he had no sacks. And last season for Cincinnati, he had 1 sack. But again, the big thing with DJ Reader is that, he clogs up the middle, and he can go drag the quarterback down. But a big thing for him is making sure that nobody gets past him. So you team him up with Aleem McNeil, and I kind of like what I see there, Bobby. I think that might be a pretty solid combination. And to have somebody with that type of experience, because remember, DJ Reader played in the Super Bowl with Cincinnati. He's been there. He knows what it's all about. Obviously, they didn't win that game, but they were close. He's played in a lot of playoff games. I mean, and Aleem, obviously, he's had the benefit of playing in some playoff games too last season. But I like that. I think that's a nice mixture of experience. And I don't want to say they're the same type of player, but in a way they kind of are. I think Aleem's better at pass rushing, obviously, because DJ has never had a 5-sack season, and Aleem's had one of them. But I think they could play off each other pretty good. And before we get into the other defensive tackles that we have on the roster, I want to get Bobby's thoughts on just that first. DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil. Does that make you feel better about that interior defensive line?
Yeah, trust me, it's better than what we had. But like I told you in the meeting earlier, brother, I'm not ready to go get that DJ Reader jersey yet. But I say I say DJ Reader is a guy on the line that you have to give some attention to, along with Aiden and along with our guy McNeil. But I don't want. I hate to sound negative, but he's closer to the end of his career than he is to his beginning of his career, and I'm interested to see how he. Not to say he's a teacher or we paying him to be coach. I would like to see how much he can help Aleem McNeil improve in his, career. Nothing against Mr. McNeil, but I'm not ready to put him in the Hall of Fame yet. So I'm interested to see him get better and better and better. So, and I also interested to see how he helps Aiden Hutchinson too, because he's a veteran. If anybody knows that getting the push up the middle, even if he doesn't get like when we say push up the middle, we're not saying you need to sack that quarterback every time, but we need that quarterback not to have the ability to step up in the pocket so comfortable. So I definitely think Mr. McNeil and Mr. Reader provides that. And I also feel like when it comes to the running game, that's a brick wall. I'm already not worried about the running game, but adding DJ Reader makes me even more not worried about it, if I could say it like that. But I feel like he's not going to be the answer to the problem, but he's not going to be a detriment either. So, and I could also be wrong.
So to me, Bobby, and I don't know if you would agree with me on this, but I feel like there's different types of defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I'm not as fluent, folks. I'm not as fluent on defense as Nate Rucker is, okay? But what I will say is, at least from my side of things, all right, you obviously want to have two good defensive tackles. If your system calls for two guys to be in there on every play, you want both those guys to be very good. Even if you have a situation where you got three defensive linemen, so only like one nose tackle, you still want to have good backups so that you can rotate, okay? But to me, I like aggressive defenses. I like defenses where they go after the quarterback and they're not scared to go after the quarterback. And they got some bad dudes up front that scare the crap out of offenses, which is why a player like Ndamukong Suh had me so excited when he joined the Lions, because that man was a menace. I mean, I remember the way he treated quarterbacks in this league, and he had his own spotlight every game.
Let me tell you about Suh real quick. I remember I lived with my father at the time. So I remember we was watching the college football season before.
Yeah.
And it's like they was naming the Heisman people, and then they called Suh name up there. I said, dude, how that big ass dude gonna win the Heisman? I ain't never seen nobody that big, trying to, because I'm thinking they had to be somebody on offense. I didn't know that it could be anyone, because I just knew it was always somebody on offense. I said, he good if he played defense and he got a chance to win the Heisman. So we get to the draft. We pick him number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And I said, "Oh, we got the big Heisman runner up." That's what I told my dad, right? But I know he was good. I seen highlights, but I have never watched him play a live game. And then the first game of preseason, they played the Cleveland Browns and Jake Delhomme. hey, Jake Delhomme, he couldn't reach Mahomes. Delhomme, that's his name. He couldn't reach Delhomme. So he just grabbed him by his face mask, like he almost broke his neck and yanked him, right? And I said, and my dad, he jumped up and he ain't a cuss. He a cuss, but he ain't no cuss. He said, "Oh shit, who is that?" I said, I said, that's that dude. That's that dude from Nebraska that almost won the Heisman. He
Right.
said, he was like, yeah, he good. He good. He said,
Yeah.
he said, he don't give a damn. He going to get the quarterback legal or not. He said, that's the kind of players that we need. And that changed the culture.
Yeah.
If you get he was a culture changer for sure.
For sure. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm trying to kind of lead us into here.
Yeah.
Because with Ndamukong Suh, he was a certain type of way, right? He was that aggressor, I should say. And it seemed like Martin Mayhew had a decent idea of what to do because he knew, okay, I got to draft somebody that's going to sit right next to him and go after people with him. And so they drafted Nick Fairley. And I like.
It should have been Ebron. He had a chance because he got Ebron instead of Aaron Donald. No, I'll never forget Mayhew for that bush.
Right, and that was after, of course, deciding not to bring back Ndamukong Suh. So they could have literally went from Suh to Donald and continued the aggressive defense. But
that's what the Rams won the Super Bowl with.
Right, but again, after they had Suh, they went out and they got Fairley. So two defensive tackles that are like-minded, skill sets are similar. We're going to go after the quarterback. We're going to be aggressive about it. And then when those two guys left the Lions, it seemed like the Lions kind of went more towards, instead of pass rushing, aggressive defensive tackles, we're going to go more towards plugging the run and space eating defensive tackles. That's what it kind of seemed like. And I don't know if Bobby agrees with me on that, but like Haloti Ngata came in. Haloti Ngata is not a pass rusher that much.
And he was old as hell. He was old as hell by now.
He was a little bit on the older side, but it seemed like we went from making the defensive tackle position a position of aggression to a position of, you're not going to get past us, but we're not going to run you down either, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so
I agree.
So it kind of seems like we changed mentalities, you know?
I agree.
And right now, I feel like we're still trying to figure out what our mentality is at the defensive tackle position. You know, Alim McNeill, is he a pass rusher? He showed us that he could do it last season a little bit. Or is he going to be the space eating type guy? DJ Reader looks like he's more of a space eater than he is a pass rusher. So I just think that's interesting that usually teams, you know, they like to draft like-minded players. You know, if you got a guy that can do this really well, then we need another guy who can do that pretty well too. And so that's what I'll be kind of curious about is Alim McNeill, DJ Reader, you know, what do they do together? You know, or is DJ going to take on the double team so that Alim can get to the quarterback more? That's what I'm kind of curious about. And DJ Reader, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Haloti Ngata in a way, because he's not coming to us, you know, at 25 years old. He's coming to us at 29. You know, but I still think he's got a lot of tread on those tires to be able to.
Yeah, Ngata was a beast for us too. Now I ain't gonna sit up and act like he wasn't no dog either. He was a beast for the Lions too, for sure.
But you know, again, just personal preference, right? Personal preference for me. I want that defensive line to be people that will run somebody down and make them pay. That's what I like to see. But they didn't ask me, believe it or not. So
hey, I wish our resident defensive coordinator Nate was here, because I wanted Jalen Carter. I wanted Jalen Carter. I wanted us to get what's the kid name? Ed Oliver. I wanted us to get Brown from that went to Carolina. Them all guys that fit that description you was talking about.
Yeah.
So now that I just hindsight being 2020, that's what I want too. You know exactly what you want, bro. But by us getting first round pick, if we would have got those guys at first round picks, we got to feature them guys.
Right.
But as to being that we're not picking that high in it, because to be honest, guys like you're describing, Elijah, don't hit free agents. Right. So now it comes down to, can you see that guy on film and bring him to Detroit? And but the good ones, you got it, because guys like you talking about, they jump out off the film. So those are going to be the highly touted guys every draft. Not it doesn't matter if how this is a wide receiver year, this is a running back year, this is a quarterback year. No matter what year it is, they're gonna want that the defensive tackle you talking about, right, Elijah?
Right.
So it comes down to when are we going to be ready to draft that guy in the first round?
And that's the other thing is are we interested? I mean, because you just listed off, and here's the thing, folks. I understand that as Bobby and I are talking, right, there have been multiple general managers since Ndamukong Suh was here, which means there's been multiple different types of philosophies, multiple different types of defensive coordinators. But the thing that I'm kind of pointing out is the Lions as an organization have not gone after somebody who is that aggressive pass rusher as an interior defensive lineman since Fairley. They really haven't.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're not interested in that. Whereas us as fans, we're like, hey, we want that guy. We want that guy on third down. Yeah. Where we're like, okay, yeah, because here's the thing. Offensively on third down, you got that one player. If you're a good team, okay, you got that one player that you're like, here we go. This is their play. This is their play where we know 98% of the time they're the one that's going to get the opportunity because they're the superstar. They can get it done. And,
True.
And there's teams, okay, and we used to be one of them, where on third down, as a defense, we would say, here's where Suh comes into play.
Yeah. Even Vanden Bosch used to get back there too.
Right.
Ziggy,
but all you of them get excited on third down because you're like, oh, they think they're about to do something, and we have an eliminator on our sideline.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, last season, I didn't necessarily feel that way on third down. I mean, there were some third and longs, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. Like
that's when I used to be nervous. I'm not gonna even lie, Elijah, on them damn third and longs when I know the quarterback gonna be standing there more than 3 seconds, he gonna kill us. And but just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
The guys you were describing, I consider them instant impact performers. Not guys that you use to fit a scheme, a guy that becomes the scheme, or a guy that makes any scheme work. We ain't had that since Nick Flaherty. I agree. You on the ball today. I usually go against what the hell you saying.
But and here's the thing, right? Like none of us are in the room, so we don't know what
they're planning. Yeah.
But it just kind of seems to me, to go back to an earlier point that I made, if I'm right in what I'm saying, that Aidan Hutchinson and Alim McNeill are the guys, they are the concrete in that defensive line, and everything else is liquid. And every other decision that's made in that defensive line is how does this help us get the most out of Hutchinson and McNeill? If that is the case, then they believe, the Lions, they believe that Alim McNeill can be that guy. That he can be that guy that you build a scheme around. Now, I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong on that, but it seems
But this is his money year. This is his money year, though. This is he has if he can go out and get it, yes.
And I will say I've always liked Alim McNeill. I've never been shy about that because the guy's super athletic. I mean, he played baseball. I think he also played basketball as well. And at NC State, he was playing baseball and football. I know that for sure.
And he always come in good shape. He like drastically improved. You can tell, hey, it's somebody that's been doing football every day since the season over with. So I can just tell how he bring himself to the table, just how he looked. He takes the job serious, and that's what you can work with. To be honest with you.
And again, last season he racked up 5 sacks. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, no, it's not 10 sacks. No, it's not 15, but you don't really see that a whole lot from defensive tackles nowadays. A 15 sack season, unless they are somebody that is just out of this world, out of their mind talented, But 5 sacks for somebody, that's pretty good. And he probably would have had more if he didn't get hurt. You know? So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm curious to see the development of Aleem McNeil, and I'm curious to see how he teams up with DJ Reader, and to get to the other guys that we have. Okay, and this might not be everybody because obviously we've had some transactions happen, but I'm just going based off the people that we know about. Okay, that were on the roster last year at defensive tackle as well. You've got Broderick Martin, who last year was a rookie. He is 6'5", 330 pounds. He's 25 years old.
Lord have mercy. That's a big ass dude.
We don't
man.
know what the deal is with him. We know that he came in looking really good, to mini camp. That was what Coach Campbell said, that he looked really, really good. And we know that he's lost a lot of weight as well, that he's kind of trimmed himself down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Now, he played at Western Kentucky, but y'all know I was high on him after I saw what he could do. And Western Kentucky didn't even have a highlight tape of the guy. But we'll see more of him in the preseason for sure. And then you still have Levi Enzarike. And Enzarike was drafted in the same draft as McNeil. And I want to believe, don't quote me on this, but I want to believe that they got Enzarike to be Batman and Robin with McNeil. But Enzarike's been hurt too much. And, he had 2 sacks last season, I believe it was. So we'll see what happens.
One of them was at a big moment though, I remember, right?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember what game one of them. I was kind of happy for him. I can't remember. Memory bad, man.
Well, but like I said, those are the 4 guys though at the moment. You got McNeil, you got Reader, you got Martin, and you got Enzarike. And we'll see what happens with that. And I know Nate Rucker just joined us, so I want to get Nate in on this conversation so Nate kind of knows what we're talking about. So Nate, what we're first of all, you can hear me, right, Nate? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So what we're talking about tonight, Nate, is the subject of the defensive tackles, because we hadn't really talked about them very much with everything else going on with the Lions. So I was bringing up the fact that we've got Aleem McNeil, we got DJ Reader. How are they going to be able to work together, and what can we expect out of them? And then I was also tying into this equation how back when we drafted Sue, we drafted an aggressor, somebody who on 3rd down, he was our eliminator, somebody that could go out there and just wreck the other team's plans. And then we drafted Fairley, and Fairley unfortunately wasn't on the field as much with Sue like we want them to be. And how after that, and Bobby brought this point up, after that, we didn't really draft aggressive defensive tackles. We went more towards space-eating defensive tackles after both of those guys were no longer on the team. And so we're trying to figure out tonight, is Aleem McNeil an aggressor, or is he a space eater? And how will him and DJ Reader coexist? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you have 2 aggressors, and then I didn't even say aggressor. You're talking about pass rushers at the defensive tackle. So you have Aleem McNeil, who is definitely a pass rushing defensive tackle, and DJ Reader is your space eater. But what you can't, the mystery guy is Levi Ozarike. Levi Ozarike is also a pass rushing defensive tackle. Gets off the snap quick, uses his hands, quick burst to penetrate the gaps. So when you're talking about Ozarike and you're talking about Aleem McNeil, they are one of the same. And I think this is also why they signed DJ Reader, is to try to unlock that potential of Ozarike. Okay. Like, you see flashes of him when he's healthy. We know back surgeries and stuff can be crazy. So he came more, had some good games, after that back surgery. So that's where I think is really tied at. And then as far as us drafting space eaters, we have to look at how our defenses switched from Terrell Austin, who ran a 4-3. And then when we got away from him, we had the Matt Patricia era and the dumb shit. So They fit more for. They were trying to get to space eating, but they sucked at that because me and Bobby will tell you, he wanted Derek Brown. I mean, we didn't want T Rex arms,
Hey,
but
Ed
looking back at it,
Oliver, Ed
right,
Oliver,
Ed
they
Oliver.
all,
So
yeah,
right,
bunch
so
of.
we had options at defensive tackles that for some reason they just didn't go that way.
Right.
But um, Aleem McNeil is definitely well. Oh yeah, I got my hat on. But he's definitely a pass rushing defensive tackle versus the space either.
Now, Nate, as far as something else we talked about tonight, and that I definitely want to get your opinion on. So Bobby and I were talking about how you have
Oh.
Aleem McNeil, you have
Mhm,
Aiden Hutchinson,
mhm,
and I was talking about how when it comes to the defensive line, those are the two pieces of the puzzle that are in concrete, and
mhm.
every decision that is made about who else is on that defensive line is made with the question in mind of how does this help Hutchinson? How does this help McNeil? And
Right.
those are the two guys that are building everything around on that defensive line. Would you agree
Mhm.
with that? And do you believe that Levi can become somebody that becomes concrete on that defensive line?
Well, I like E. Levi coming out of Washington the moment they drafted. Um, he was actually on one of my prospects because of what he brought as a pass rusher. Now, the key to it, as far as him, is just being healthy. Because it's one of the things that the Lions have always, when they had a good defense, is rotating fresh bodies. So the more and more bodies you're able to rotate in, the more and more consistent pressure you're able to put on, especially later on in the game. So that gives other guys a chance to come in fresh, go up against that offensive guard that's already been getting whooped all game, that guard, that center. So you have essentially what we have in our running backs, which are change of pace backs, and you have change of pace tackles as well. So that's what you really want. And I think DJ Reader, man, because you're going to have to double team him. He's a proven vet that you have to double team. And now with Aleem McNeil coming on the way that he did last year and the changes that he made in his body, he's going to be on the scout report. The key is going to be Marcus Davenport. Is he because
Said that. Hey, I
there's
know I learned from the best because I was telling Elijah the same thing. I
Yeah.
telling him, I
yeah,
said that
yeah,
Davenport
because
gonna be the guy that we're gonna have to see.
because he's going to be the guy that they're going to single block the most. We know when it comes to Hutchinson, they're going to chip him with a tight end. They're going to have a back stay in to help because he's shown over the years how he's redeveloped. And it's crazy you see a guy get better, but you're talking about redevelop different pass moves. Especially you see now he uses the spin almost a la the White Freeney. The difference is the White Freeney really pretty much only spent one way, where Hutch actually double spins. He'll spin one way, then spin back inside and gets guys off balance. So you have him getting picked up a lot. So Davenport's going to be the guy that they're going to have to single block. You're going to have to do more than just contain that outside. So I think if Davenport can get you 7 sacks opposite Hutch, that defense is going to be in for a hell of a season.
Man, if he can get five, I'd be happy, man. Because the other day he ain't replacing much for real.
So two questions for Nate. So first of all, when it comes to defensive tackle, okay, I said to Bobby that I like aggressive defensive tackles. I like guys that can break a scheme and who on third down, you're going, hey, this is their moment right here. That's my favorite type of defensive tackle. That's why I love when Ndamukong Suh.
Game changer. I mean, you want a game changer. You want a game record. It's crazy when they were talking about the Lions. They put everything out on why they ended up drafting Eric Ebron over Aaron Donald.
That's the man. Don't even go
the
there, man.
craziest part, the only person who wanted Aaron Donald was Jim Bob Cooter.
Right.
Jim Bob Cooter said, listen, I don't know about y'all, but the one thing I don't want to have the game plan for is a guy that's going to be consistently in my backfield, consistently beating up my center, beating up my guard, and I have to put help over there. And this is what this pitch. You know, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm an offensive guy, and I'm telling you, this guy's going to be hell to deal with.
Right.
And sad to say, he was outvoted. But, you know, that's what you want.
Now, if he was not caught, you know, butt naked on somebody's couch, do you think they would have respected his opinion a little bit more?
Well, I look at it this way: they hired him after that anyway.
But the question I was going to ask you, Nate, and you kind of already answered it, but I was going to ask you, you know, what type of defensive tackle do you like better? Do you like a game record? Do you like a space eater?
I need a game record.
Okay, so
I need a game record.
So all three of us want the same thing. Okay.
Elijah, I told you popping corn today, man, because usually we don't agree, but we all in agreement. Yes.
I don't know. I mean, to me, like I
said, you got to think about it. I don't want, you know, you can easily say we all know pressure busts pipes, so you don't always have to get the sack. Mm-hmm. But I don't want a defensive tackle that's just sitting here once they hike and he gets no penetration. And they're standing you up every single play, and you just sitting there just doing this. No, that's not what you want.
Right.
You don't have to even get 8-9 sacks. Like, you just have to be a force to say, hey, I'm going to double team the guy in front of me. So y'all don't have to double team. Because if you don't, it's going to be a problem. And that's what you want. You like, hey, if you don't double team me, it's going to be a long day for somebody. And that's what you want.
So last year on the show, and again, me and Bobby talked about this earlier, but last year on the show, we had predicted that Alim McNeill was going to have a breakout year. And he ended up having 5 sacks. He got hurt. I think he could have had more sacks if he didn't get hurt. But how many sacks do you think Alim McNeill gets this year? How many sacks do you think DJ Reader gets this year? Because he's never had more than 2.5 in any of his games.
I'm gonna say DJ, I say 3. Okay. Alim McNeill 6. Hutch around 15, 16.
If Hutch get that, that's what's up.
Yeah, I mean Hutch 15, 16. I'll also look at Kaminsky. Kaminsky should definitely get you around 3 or 4. So
that's my guy.
Davenport, if he can get you 6 sacks off that opposite side, then we're in for something good. You know, Levi should get you at least 3. You know, and hell, he got you 3 last year. Wasn't even healthy, but 6, 7 games.
Hey, what's my dude that came from I think I want to say he came from Minnesota. He was our DN for the Saints game. He was out there smacking. He came in, didn't even know the damn defense, and got what's his name?
Oh no, they got rid of him. Oh no.
But he got home though. He got some sacks though.
Yeah, he didn't come from Minnesota. You talking about Bruce Irvin?
Irvin, yeah. That's
no. I think he went back to Seattle.
But I'm just saying, he didn't even know the damn defense.
No, because the only thing he had to do
get home.
Did
he can win 1-on-1.
Yeah, only thing he had to do was get out there and do what he do, rush the pass.
Yeah,
you don't need the scheme. And then what they did was they put him out there in that NASCAR package. So it was simple. What his job was. We didn't bring you here to drop in the coverage. We brought you in to get to the quarterback. Just that simple.
Yeah, hey, Nate, tell them what the NASCAR package is, because a lot of us don't know what it is. I remember it from the Giants, but I don't think everybody else knows.
Well, essentially, the NASCAR package, what the Lions did was they put 3 defensive ends out. No, I already ate. So what they did, they put 3 defensive ends out, and one defensive tackle. And they also use they use the rush linebacker. So who they were using before they got rid of him was Julian Aguara because he was fast coming off that edge.
Mhm.
But if people pay attention, what the Lions did, and a guy who had the breakout season that I told people would have a breakout season that they wasn't getting rid of, Melifonwu. And I told people this, and they like, remember this about he ain't gonna make the cut and blah blah blah. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. This guy coming off the edge is hell when you put him right next to Hutch. So they essentially transitioned him from a deep end safety to the box safety. So what he did was he became a mixture of Deshaun Elliott and Tracy Walker, but faster than every last one of them. As we seen in the Minnesota game, we seen him covering tight ends. We seen him a game-ending interception, especially Minnesota came up with the game-ending interception with that one. So, that NASCAR package is just meant to put as much speed on the field as they can to create as many matchups as they can, mismatches. So if I take my run stuffing defensive tackle out, which would be DJ Reader, and I put him out with all pass rushing defensive ends, it's going to be mismatched and it's going to cause confusion on the offensive line on who picks up who. So you're talking about Davenport. Well, last year it was Pascal. They used Bruce Irvin, Kaminsky, Aiden Hutchinson, Melifonwu, and Ograwa.
Okay.
So, and they only had the one true defensive tackle, which was Elaine McNeil. And the game that really showed how effective it could be was Green Bay. I think against Green Bay, McNeil had 4 sacks in 2 games. May have been 3, but if I'm like, it's 3 to 4, I know for sure against Green Bay because he had the 2 sacks on the primetime game for sure.
Yeah, he was something else whenever that was going on, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what you want.
So Nate, as far as defense is concerned, we always call you our resident defensive coordinator, and for good reason. Okay, so let me throw this at you because I kind of know what your answer is going to be, but I still want to see. Okay, so I know growing up, watching football in the early 2000s, I got exposed to a lot of different offenses, a lot of different defenses. I would watch traditional under center exchanges. I would watch the Wildcat formation and that development, the read option, the triple option, the run and shoot from Hawaii. Like I was always loving how offenses, there were so many different ways to do it, but as long as you're doing it right, you can have a chance. And then on defense, it felt like kind of similar. There's many different ways to attack an offense. You just got to be proficient at it, and you got to be intelligent at it. And I know that obviously my team's Georgia Tech. So I know back in the early 2000s, they had John Tenuta. And John Tenuta, John Tenuta was known as somebody who split you 75% of the time. 75% of the time, he's blitzing from somewhere. You just got to figure out where he's blitzing from. So when it comes to our defensive coordinator, what do you think, and I know you don't know him, but what do you think his strategy is for how he wants this defense to operate whenever it is at full strength? Because it feels like it hasn't been at full strength since he became our defensive coordinator, whether it be not having enough, objects in the cupboard or having injuries. So going into this year, how do you think our defense is going to operate? Where do you think that pressure is coming from? And what should we look for?
Well, basically, one thing you know about Aaron Glenn is that he wants pressure. And he wants to get it without having to blitz.
Okay.
So he's going to run a lot of man coverage. If everybody's healthy, you'll see a lot of man coverage. And that's what he wants. A lot of man. He wants to be able to put guys on the island so that now if you're able to cover your man one-on-one, my safeties can roam, my safeties can blitz, you know, and that's going to help. Now that's also going to be beneficial when you're talking about mobile and scrambling quarterbacks because now I have more speed at safety where I can use Kirby Joseph and I can use Melafama with that line. So when I'm going up against Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields type guys, where they all they want to do when they get out the pocket, they're creating havoc because Anzalone and these guys aren't that fast. So we essentially ran a lot more zone because he was forced to, but he wants to run man.
Okay.
And it's going a healthy defensive man is going to be great.
Bobby, let me bring you in on this because I certainly know that you were not satisfied with the defense last year. So when you hear Nate say that, how do you feel about it?
It sounds good until they play. I'm more interested in see what Davenport brings to the table as far as that defensive line more than DJ Reader. And I know I heard of Reader before, but Davenport been in with Aaron Glenn in the defense before. I think him being that I think we pretty much, other than the secondary, well, I would count Kirby Joseph now. We have a veteran in each. We have a veteran that knows the defense in each part of that line now. With Davenport being under with Glenn and Campbell with the Saints, same with Anzalone, and Kirby Joseph been there, been under their tutelage since he's been a rookie. I think I can actually say we got a veteran of the what we call it, the 4-2-5, right? Or what we running?
So I want to say Nate might need to hop back in on this, but I
know we only really running with two.
What I saw last year, going into last season, it looked like we were running 4-2-5 a lot, but then I think Nate said something about a 3-3 at certain points. So we'll see if Nate can't hop back in here if he can hear me. I think Nate's
but I'm
double duty tonight. So
yeah, I honestly feel like I feel like we got guys that's been around to know the system. So we're not doing more learning, we doing more repetition now. We got guys that's in each level of the defense to be able to put guys that's not familiar in the right places. So for the first time, I say that in each level of the defense, we got an experienced guy to be able to move people into the right places. That excites me. To be honest, as far as like the defensive line, it's still very underwhelming until I see different. I have my eyes open. I'm watching. I'm waiting. Prove me wrong. But I think we left a lot on the table by not doing that, by not really putting the emphasis on said pass rusher. I think we put more emphasis on the secondary, which was horrible too. I mean, they suck. So if I had to pick, so it comes down not Kirby. I'm cool with him. Kirby Joseph, that's my guy. And Brian Branch, when he out there, he did well too. But when it comes down to this, Elijah, what was worse to you? The secondary or the pass rush? I'm going to say secondary. Because there was a lot of third and longs that we talked about earlier that I just almost broke my TV on. So I even though I feel they underwhelmed on the line, I'm actually pleasantly surprised and optimistic about the secondary this year. So I feel that they betted on the line we have
right
over that damn secondary, and I'm okay with that because that secondary was whack.
And see that's kind of where I would, to kind of answer your question. I thought the secondary, I thought that they left a lot to be desired last year. I think that's fair to copy what you would usually say, Bobby.
A lot to be desired. I like the mailman. Don't put the mail in the box. Just leave it on the sidewalk. That's a lot.
But the defensive line, I gave them a pass because of the injuries. That's why I gave them a pass, because I was like, okay, if James Houston is healthy, that's going to look like a completely different defense, you know? And so that's kind of the things that I was making excuses at home. You know what I mean? Going,
And they
okay.
was holding Hutch too, because there's a lot of times he would have got home.
But
that too.
that's why, as I was thinking about things to discuss on tonight's program, I'm like, wait a minute. We lost the defensive tackle story because there's so many other things happening right now, which are all fantastic, but we hadn't talked about it at all. And I'm like,
I forgot about, and that's crazy. I forgot about James Houston.
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
So here's my question for you, Nate. Now that we got you back, okay? So Levi, all right, you seem to be somebody who is a very big supporter of Levi. I forgot that he was one of your prospects. But with Levi, I'm big on Aleem McNeil because I'm big on him because obviously I watch a lot of ACC football and because he's been healthy and he's been on the field. Levi, as you've said, you know, his greatest ability, unfortunately, has not been his availability. So him and Aleem are in the same year, meaning that they're both looking to try to capitalize enough to get that next contract. What does Levi have to do, knowing that he's not going to be the number 2 defensive tackle? He's going to be number 3 behind DJ Reader. So what does he got to do?
He may be 4th.
You think he'll be 4th?
I mean,
yeah, because Broderick, I'll give him.
No, I'm not. No, it's not even so much. It's not. No, it's not even. It's not even Broderick. We're missing the one guy, Kaminsky.
Oh yeah, but Kaminsky more. Well, he in and out, ain't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, it takes pressure off of Levi. It's the same thing I said with Melifonwu last year. As long as they can stay healthy, you will see what the Lions see, and the reason why they haven't been. Excuse me. The reason why they haven't been traded. The reason why they haven't been released. And people kept saying Melifonwu ain't gonna make it. He kept making it, and people on the outside can't understand why. There's, you know, some people have it, and one thing that you cannot control is injury. But what you can control is when you do get a chance to play, are you making an impact? Are you creating havoc? Are you giving the coaches something for them to look forward to? Which Melifonwu did, and then it showed on the field when he got healthy. And then all the Lions fans, now they Melifonwu, but before in the preseason, they was, oh, he ain't gonna make it.
Right.
It's the same thing with Levi. When Levi's on the field, you see the burst. You see the hand techniques. You see him getting into the backfield. He gets to the quarterback, and he's able to chase down from the backside. Now, sack injuries are no joke.
Right.
And especially for a guy his size. So it's all going to be if he can stay healthy. So again, if he's able to just be healthy, and if he gets you consistent pressure. So remember, grading defensive tackles is different from grading linebackers. Truthfully, you want to see, are you, and how many times are you in the backfield? Whether you're making the tackle or not. Are you beating your man and shooting the gap so that you're causing tackles for loss? Are you causing sacks? You know, those are the things that you look for in your defensive tackle. You don't always got to get there. But what you have to do is make them be aware of you. And that's one of the things where everybody got paid next to Sue. Sue got all the highlights. He got the sacks, but he got the other guys paid. CJ Mosley, hey, you know, Fairley drafted Fairley, even though Fairley didn't do well, but next to Sue, you know, every now and again you've seen it. And so that's all you truly, truly hope for. And you're talking about a guy that's going to be the third or fourth string. So only thing we want to see from you is effort and promise.
So you don't think, and it's hard because like you're not the person, you know what I mean? Like I get that, but you don't think that Levi after this season is going to have, and I hate to say the audacity because everybody should believe that they're the best at what they do, but you don't think he's going to go into the Lions front office after this season and say, I want a giant contract? You think he's going to be okay taking kind of whatever they give him?
Well, because even as an athlete, regardless, and you have certain levels and certain stats that you want to make on your own.
Okay.
So if you haven't met your own standards, then you haven't met the front office standards.
Fair enough. Because I feel like Aleem is going to come in after this next season.
Yeah, well, Aleem can, but Levi, on the other hand, he has to prove himself not just to the Lions, but to the other teams that say, "Hey, this guy should get a spot on our squad."
Right.
So it's going to be a constant audition for him. And guess what? He don't always have to be the hero or the main villain. You just have to be a supporting role. Supporting actor and actress still gets awards.
Right. No, for sure. For sure.
So that's what he has to be.
It's interesting because every time I pose a question like that, Bobby, I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but Nate becomes the most understanding man in the world because he's like, listen, I don't have a set thing of how many touchdowns or how many yards. Like I know for me, I'm always thinking about it in terms of, okay, realistic things you can do, right? Like if you don't hit 10 touchdowns, don't be coming to my office asking for a big old bag of money.
Nate is we ain't into the numbers and stuff. Right. I tell you, they got beef with calculator boys real deep in these streets.
Yeah, the calculator boys is different.
Yeah, but what Nate basically saying, when you see it, you know you got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you see it, it shouldn't be a stat. You don't believe your eyes when you see it, kind of thing. Make it just jump out on the film so well where there's no denying. Basically giving an offer they can't refuse. You can't. But that's how I look at it. But I kind of like with Nate. I don't want to get specific numbers in my head because that way, when they don't meet it, it's a letdown. It just is what it is.
Yeah, and you know what? I can certainly understand that point of view. I'm just saying that for me, I would have thought for Levi, like, okay, there'd have to be a number. But I agree with Nate.
He ain't nothing special.
But I agree with Nate.
He ain't nothing special to me. So Levi, he ain't nothing special to me. But he a guy amongst guys. None of them. There's only one guy for real. And that's Aiden Hutchinson. The rest of them guys are interchangeable. And McNeil. I don't want to undersell McNeil either.
I still think, and again, I've been saying this all show long. I still think that Hutchinson, obviously, you want to put talent around Hutchinson. You drafted him so high. You want to get everything you can out of Hutchinson, But I also feel like Aleem McNeil, I think they think very highly of Aleem McNeil, that like he can be that guy moving forward, that premier defensive tackle for this team. And I don't know that they still feel that way about Levi, but I like where Nate's going with it, though, that they could still feel that way. But first, he's got to be on the dang field, So that's kind of interesting to think about it in that term. Before we go, Nate, I want to ask you about Broderick Martin. I had to mute you because of the background noise, but Broderick Martin, what do you think about him? Because, I mean, again, there's so much like depth there now. Like, where does he kind of fit in?
I wouldn't say depth. I'd say he got just as much a shot as anybody else, to be honest.
Yeah, he does. I mean, they drafted him for a reason. He is a mammoth of a man at the defensive tackle. And it's all about conditioning. As everybody knows, when you come from college to the NFL, their body changes just from the part of them being drafted to the first opening, to the first season opening game. Their body goes through drastic changes. And then you're talking about from your first year to your second year. So for him, it's just getting his condition down, and continue to be who he is. Like, they drafted you for a reason. They don't want you to change your play. Now, you don't have to change your play, but what you can do is get better in your technique, get better in your conditioning. That's what you can do. Don't change nothing else. Because if you get better with your conditioning, your productivity is going to come up. You get better with your body, your strength, your productivity goes up. That's all they want. Just be Broderick Martin. Don't overthinking it. The only competition you have is yourself. Because as I said, every athlete has their own ideal of what their stats should be in their head. So your biggest competition is always yourself. Because if you don't have a personal goal, then what are you playing for? So for Broderick Martin, it's simple. Just be better than last year. Just that simple. Be better than last year.
So we gotta before we go, our last topic for tonight, okay? We gotta talk about kickers, okay? Because we just signed a guy that Bobby has been begging the Lions to sign since he first saw him in UFL football. Jake Bates. He is a Detroit Lion on a 2-year deal. And this is a pretty big deal, you know, for the Lions. I mean, obviously, he played all of his home games this season at Ford Field. So it would make sense if he's kicking really good in your field and you have a need at kicker, why not give him a shot? But Jake Bates, he had a 64-yarder towards the beginning of the UFL season. And if you're looking at his overall stats, he was 17 out of 22 for a 77% percentage when it comes to his kicks. And again, a long of 64 yards. I will say that I noticed that when he got outdoors, that's where some of those misses started to happen. So that kind of made me a little bit like, oh, I don't know about this. But we don't play a lot of outdoor games anymore. I mean, you look at the schedule, I think we have like 3 of them this year that we're playing outdoors.
Yeah, hey, I can't remember what I put in the chat, but it was like the first 13 out of 14 games in the dome or something ridiculous like that.
So we got Michael Badgley, we got Jake Bates, and I think we have another kicker out of Michigan, I believe, that is on the team. So that's 3 guys competing for that starting job.
Yeah, but he's a punter, though. He's not a kicker. He's just a punter.
Oh, okay. I thought he was kicking field goals too. But anyway, we got Michael Badgley, Jake Bates, Bobby. I hate to have you be our resident special teams coordinator, but what do you think? Do you believe it'll be Bates that wins this job? Do you think it'll be Badgley that wins this job? How do you feel about that?
I want Bates to win the job because to be honest, man, Badgley, the guy that Campbell rather go for it for than to have him kick it. So it's his job it's Bates' job to keep, to be honest to me. But man, I can't stand these kickers, man. Because once I start putting faith in them, this motherfucker gonna start missing. And no, I don't know. I want Bates, but I did hear about the damn outside kicking problem. You know what I mean? That he don't kick well at. I heard he is absolutely horrible outside. Kind of what I heard. So I kind of want to see him kick outside before I even give him the nod, to be honest. But I know one thing: we need a guy to make Campbell at least go for it one time. That's, to be honest. But I'm excited in the fact that Brad Holmes is watching what we watching. Because come on, the best kicker in Detroit can't be on the Panthers, man. It just can't happen. So I'm glad he made that move, and I hope Bates do his thing, man, because he more than because and honestly, don't he have, other than Justin Tucker, he done kicked the longest field goals in the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Other than
Matt Prater.
Other than Tuck, yeah.
Prater, yeah.
Matt Prater.
Matt Prater didn't kick no 60s in Detroit. That was all in
No,
it was all in Denver. He kicked like a 57, but he ain't kicked no no 52. I mean, no 62. None of that. No, it was like 57, 58. I'm telling you. Now, when he did break the record, but that was in Denver, though. But yeah, I just want to see him. I just want to see Dan Campbell want to kick it. That's all. If this guy make Campbell want to kick it, I'm all in.
So let me throw this out there, okay? And I know that Bobby's gonna be like, I don't like that. But but here's the deal, okay? In 2022, Badgley was on the team for the Lions. He went 20 out of 24 on the season, and he had a long of 53.
That's not long.
Last year, when they brought him back, he was 4 out of 4 on field goals, and his long was a 41-yarder. Now, I know what Bobby's going to say. That ain't very long. And he's not wrong. It ain't very long. But if you want to talk about accuracy, he is an accurate kicker. If you're looking at the numbers, he is accurate. He just doesn't have a big leg. And for Bates, obviously he does have a big leg. He seems to be accurate. My only concern is, and maybe we can bring Nate in on this conversation too, the United Football League is comprised of players that are going to be fighting for preseason jobs in the NFL. I don't want to put down any of those players, but I feel like it may be something worth mentioning that when you're looking at the players that were rushing him in the UFL as he was trying to kick, those players are going to be substantially better when they're trying to rush him as he's trying to kick in the NFL.
Won't he have better blocking?
I would hope that he has better blocking, but I just want to bring Nate in on that. Nate, do you think that that could play a role in his success or his failure, that maybe he was looking so good and being able to kick these deep balls because the guys that were rushing him were not really able to get to him that well? What do you think?
Nah, I mean, if anything, like I said, it should be improved because he's coming to the best offensive line in football. So,
but is that the same offensive line that we run out?
Well, you have some of those guys, but the only difference is you don't have a center where it's just your long snapper. But you're talking about guys
and Decker both out there.
Yeah, but and you're still talking about guys who are going to be on the outside, and they're going to be substantially better when you're talking about the blocking for these field goals. Yeah, the rushers are going to be better, but your blocking is going to be better. Your security is going to be better in the NFL than it is in the UFC.
Okay.
I mean, so
yeah,
I mean, it could be that.
I see what you're saying.
Right. And so he could be where he's like, you know what? My blocking really ain't that good, so I have to rush this kick because I got a whack wingman over here or a whack ass left blocker.
Yeah, he might be able to take his time now.
Right. So I have to rush my setup. I'm not able to really count my steps. I'm not able to really visualize everything I'm doing because I've got to kick it so fast. So it's one of those catch-22. We'll be able to tell to the preseason if it is or it's not.
See, I'm more concerned about the elements around him as far as the weather and being outside than I am about the actual rush. And the reason why, because most of these kickers, they simulate their game to more like a golfer. And amongst golfer, when you're playing golf, you're really going against yourself more than anything. So that I say that, but don't cut the dude that can kick 64 yards. That's all I'm saying. Don't cut the dude. That's
I'm not even trying to argue that. I mean, I love the fact
I know you're not lying. I'm arguing with myself.
And I think he's a great story as well, because this was not somebody that was kicking field goals in college. He was the kickoff man at Arkansas. That's what he did. And then he goes to the UFL and they say, hey, maybe try some field goals. And it turned into an NFL contract. But the point that I was bringing up, as y'all know,
I didn't know that, Elijah. I didn't know he didn't kick any field goals in college.
No, that wasn't.
Think about this. Justin Tucker was undrafted as well. So
yeah.
Kickers aren't really drafted like that. Like Jake Moody, Jason Hanson, uh, Sebastian Janikowski,
Hey, what's my dude? What's my
Matt
dude?
Edom.
What's the dude that jumped up and hurt his knee? What's his name? Grammatica. That's his name.
Martin
Yeah,
Gramatica.
yeah. He used to
The
kick
two
hard
brothers.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so
They
it's
was
like I
corny.
say, kickers don't generally get drafted. Like I say, you get some, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot. So,
But
it's
like
just,
like I was but like I was saying, the point that I was trying to make is that, I have been around, developmental leagues before in my lifetime.
right.
I've seen semi-professional football players that will go, and usually it's skill position players. Okay, just to be clear, usually it's skill position guys, but you'll see a running back who is out there, running for 150 yards a game and multiple touchdowns, and he's jumping over people, and you're like, man, this guy's got it. And then they go up a level, right? They go into one of these indoor leagues, or they go into a XFL, UFL type situation or whatever, and they kind of disappear. They're like, uh-oh, this now got a little bit more serious. And so that's what I always am concerned about. Not that guys shouldn't have opportunities, because I love that. I love that they have those opportunities. But it's like, okay, fan base, just because they look good in the developmental league does not automatically guarantee they will have that same level or greater success in the NFL. You obviously hope for that, but you got to kind of see it, It kind of reminds me of when the Lions signed that viral sensation, Kickalicious. Remember that?
Oh man, I knew he wasn't gonna work. I
And
knew
then
it.
it didn't work
Just
out.
by his name.
But there were a lot of people that were like, Kickalicious, that's going to be great. So I'll be very curious to see how how he does, how Jake Bates does during this preseason, and I hope he gets opportunities to kick some field goals and kick some longer field goals so they can make sure that this is the guy they want. And two questions, okay, or I should say a question and something to keep an eye on. The question is, when it comes to the Lions special teams, and actually, I'll hold off on the question here for a moment. I'll go to the thing I wanted to mention to keep an eye on. So UFL MVP this year was Adrian Martinez. And everybody knows Adrian was on the Lions last year during the preseason, and for whatever reason, we chose not to keep him on the roster. So keep an eye on him, on Adrian Martinez. He may or may not, come back around, and hopefully not to bite us, but we'll see. But I think he's going to get an opportunity with somebody out there. But to the question, do you guys believe that there is any possibility that we keep two kickers on the roster? We keep both Badgley and Bates. Bobby, let me start with you.
No. Hell no. Come on, man. Two kickers, where they do that at, man? I wish they would, man.
Well, last year we were bringing guys in off the street, which is why I'm asking about it.
No. I don't even want to see one on practice team. No, hell no. Use that for real. Because when it comes down to it, the man might not even want to use them anyway. So at least you get the further you can kick it, the more likely he's going to use you.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Bobby don't know. Bobby's like, I hope.
Yeah. I mean, the further you are, the more likely he can use 38,
he's gonna have Jared Goff out there. He's gonna throw a screen.
Hey, man.
4th and 38. Here we
go.
But
I don't believe in no two kickers, man. You're gonna have to do. I'd rather not kick than have two.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, if that makes sense to you.
I mean, it makes sense. For me, I would say if you can afford to do it, because kickers can literally lose you games.
No, but see, this is my thing, though. The reason why I want to do it, because soon as the one in the front miss, the other one, it's your turn. Because I don't want to see, if we got two kickers, I don't want to see two misses in a row by the same guy. So,
right.
So and that then now we going back and forth, and we now we playing golf. We throwing the grass in the air. No, we need the one. No, hell no.
But okay,
No.
but how much is
Just
it
get
gonna
one
drive you
kicker
crazy?
and stick with it.
But how much is it going to drive you crazy? Folks, watch Bobby's face because I'm about to give him a nightmare tonight.
Oh, God, leave me alone, Elijah.
How-
Lord.
This right here is a clip, by the way. This right here is a clip, so get ready.
Oh, God.
So, how pissed is Bobby going to be on a scale of 1 to get the hell out of here if he tunes into an outdoor game? It's windy. Jared Goff comes off the sideline. He's got those 2 white gloves on.
And he missed the kick.
And Jake Bates misses the kick that could have won the damn game.
Elijah. Oh, my God, Elijah.
He gonna wake up. Bobby gonna wake up with a cold sweat tonight.
Oh, my
Like,
God,
oh,
Elijah.
God. Cold weather games.
Oh,
I
my
can't do
God.
it.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Elijah, I can't believe you did that to me. What was the high point? What you said from 1 to what?
1 to get the hell out of here.
Oh, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Oh, for sure. No, Elijah, please. I hope that don't happen, man.
Watch.
This man,
He
we barely
gonna
put
have
together the
nightmares.
game. And then Golf got the gloves. We got the chance. Golf, we even got a chance to win with golf gloves. And then this mug. Oh, Lord. Elijah, no.
Oh, we have fun.
Please
Here.
don't do me like.
We have fun.
Yeah,
here.
Elijah. I hope I ain't let you down, man. I don't even want to even think about being that mad, Elijah.
No, you're good. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, that would be the thing. And then
I'd
Bobby
be mad
would be
in Madden if that happened. Just in Madden, I'd be pissed. So
yeah.
I don't Elijah, don't. If that happened, I'm not talking to you, man. I gotta, because you got a way of saying things and putting it into reality, man. I'm gonna cuss you out if that happens. I'm gonna cuss you out. But okay, that's a good one. You got me on that one. You got me on that
white
one.
gloves and a missed field goal. And Bobby,
man, I'm crying. Hey, I'm crying now because I got tears coming out now because I could just imagine being that pissed. Don't do me like that no more, man. I'll be mad as hell.
And when it happens, the first message that Bobby's gonna get is from me. The first message is gonna be from me saying Michael Badgley would never. Anyway.
No, God. And then I can, you know what? And it ain't just that moment. It's gonna be Sports Center for 2 days. You know, Valini gonna be talking shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, man. I'm like, I ain't gonna even be able to ignore that. And then, I work in a public setting, so everybody that, oh my God, no, man, you gonna fuck up a whole week. That's a whole week in trouble, man. Oh Lord.
We'll see. And if it's against the Bears, oh man.
Yeah, I don't even care if it's anybody in our division, man. No, no.
Let's see if we can get Nate back on here because it is time for us to get to our closing remarks already.
Man.
I hope everybody's had fun on this show, by the way.
That's a low blow, Elijah. That's a low blow, man. Give me my damn card back, man. Fuck that, man.
You funny. No. That's mine now. That's mine.
I ain't got no gas. I ain't got no gas. Come get it, Elijah.
I'm gonna get that card.
I ain't got no gas. Come get it, Elijah.
But he will find the gas if there's 2 gloves and a missed field goal. He will find the gas.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to deactivate my page for like 48 hours because I'm corporate now. I can't have my reactions on that damn Facebook no more. Cause
Bobby's burner account.
Oh yeah, I had that. You're right. I'm about to get that going soon.
Yeah. So Nate, are you still with us, my friend? It looks like he's muted and he's got his camera off. I know. I'm pretty sure he's pulling double duty tonight. So Nate, we're going closing remarks now, my friend. So what do you got for us for closing remarks?
Closing remarks are pretty simple. If the season don't start off the way we think it is or the way that we think it should, don't revert back to that PTSD shit. Just stay the course, trust in the process, and still, continue to sell out. Like I said, I still think we're gonna win. I still think we're gonna win the NFC North. We literally should be back at that Super Bowl again. So just don't lose faith. Keep strong. Because we gonna keep pushing. We gonna keep pushing.
Right.
And then make sure that make sure y'all keep telling people about the show. You know, more subscribers, y'all. Don't forget, because these prizes are going to start coming back. We took a little break, but the prizes and things are going to be coming back. You know, we gave away Apple Watches, AirPods, Pistons tickets, Lions tickets, posters, and everything under the sun, man. So just remember, man, the more people that we bring, or the more people that y'all bring, the better the prize is going to be. You don't even have to pay for shipping. So all you got to do is open up your mailbox and see what's in the bag. So, man, just continue to bring people, man. Like, subscribe, and share.
Perfect. Yep. Bobby, closing remarks, my friend.
Yeah, this is the hardest. The guys that love the Detroit Lions are talking about the Detroit Lions of this part of the season, you know? And that's us, you know. We can pretty much, all my brothers, even Reggie, not seeing today. We can find a reason to talk about the Detroit Lions in any setting for real. So just know, if you one of us, we are here for you. No, man, this is the fun time. About this time next month, we'll be really excited, getting ready for this training camp, and then next thing you know, it's time to be putting out our pens and our magnifying glasses and see who's a bum and who ain't a bum, right? That it come down to that, right? No, but it's just I'm excited to see what we got with the players. Like I'm excited to see Jameson Williams. I'm excited to see Hendon Hooker. I'm excited to see my boy Bates now that Elijah put that hex on him. So I just can't wait, guys. That's it. That's really much. Elijah, I'm gonna cut you out. I already know that's gonna happen.
All right, so
you should give me lotto numbers or some shit. What? Predict some lotto numbers.
I have to use my powers for good, right?
Oh Lord.
So anyway, I just want to end the show by saying a huge heartfelt thank you to Reggie, to Bobby, to Nate. The guys work so hard on this show every single week to bring it to you, and we have brought it to you 72 times. That is nuts. I honestly didn't know if it would last that long. I hope that it would. But yeah, 72 episodes and still counting. That is amazing. And so I have these guys to thank for that. You know, we've all been through some stuff over the past year. And you know, these guys have been rock solid for me, as I've been dealing with all that. So, I love them, not just as Lions fans, but as my brothers, and my life is better with them, in it. So, with that being said, hey, if you come across a situation this week where your skill set can make that situation a little bit better, you now not only have the ability, you have the responsibility. And remember to be good to yourself, be good to others, and spend time with those you love, you know. Really focus on that, you know, because at the end of the day, likes and shares and comments, that's all great, right? But they are not going to be the ones that hug you at night. So spend time with those you love.